again. The grievance industry is being driven by elements of the Democratic Party very successfully, as many Americans are now buying into the fact, the allegation, that the USA is unfair, insensitive, and downright bad. So expect to see more of this kind of madness in the future. If you're not a rich white guy, chances are you are the victim of discrimination. Therefore, we must have gender equality, race equality, sex equality, income equality, everything equality, or it's just not fair, not fair. The unintended consequences of a political deception like the inequality deal is a symbolic Frankenstein's monster, the creation of a disaster. And you know what the worst part is? There is inequality in America because inequality exists in every country. And in order to deal with that, intelligent discussion and smart policy changes should take place. But crazy people and hustlers are now controlling the debate. And because of that, constructive, effective problem solving will be hard to come by. The grievance industry is unleashed. And that's a memo. Next on the rundown, a white man hits a black child with his truck in Detroit. A mob just about kills the man. A viewer warning, our next story, very intense. Right back with it. So is this a racial deal, Mr. Wembley?
Well, so far we simply don't know. Detroit police, they never really ruled out the possibility that this could have been a hate crime, but so far they say they haven't really seen or heard anything that would suggest that the attack was racially motivated. How
about your reporting? You've been talking to the folks down there. What do they say?
A lot of people are ticked off about what happened, that a man who stopped to help out this 10-year-old boy, David Harris, after hitting him, he stopped to see if the boy was okay, to check up on him, and then he was attacked. A lot of people, everyone here is pretty much upset about this. Black, white, you name it, everyone is ticked off that this happened, and they want to see the guys responsible brought to justice.
All right. Mr. Beckman, how do you see it? Is there a race component here?
Maybe not initially, Bill, but certainly on a secondary level. I talked earlier tonight with a lady named Deborah Hughes, who's a former nurse who came to Steve Utash's aid after he began to be beaten on the ground outside that gas station. And she said the words that were being shouted, first by one man who said, "You're the one who hurt my nephew." And then she said other men were shouting from the mob that was around, and there were 100 to 150 people around here, keep in mind. Others were shouting, "It's the white guy, get the white guy." Now, that may be just a means of identifying him, but the issue of race came up in that way. And the shocking thing is that none of the people in this crowd, except for this brave woman, this former nurse, came to Steve Utash's aid. They watched or participated in this horrific beating for no reason at all.
Now, what happened to the nurse when she came to Mr. Utash's aid? Did anything happen to her?
No, she went to attend to him, and the beating stopped when she went down and actually laid on the ground next to him, tried to comfort him to see whether she could offer any support. And she's
all right. Now, what kind of neighborhood is this, Mr. Wembley? I understand that this gas station where the children were playing is a gathering point, but it is a primarily black neighborhood, correct?
This is the east side of Detroit that you're referring to, and by and large, a fairly rougher side of town. The east side of Detroit is pretty rough for the most part. For the most part, not every neighborhood.
Right, but I understand that it's so rough that white citizens are said not to want to go there. Is that true?
I can't really speak to that. I couldn't really say.
How about you, Mr. Beckman? Have you heard that? Yeah, I did hear. We've had callers on my talk show who have said that very thing, that they, we've had delivery men who said they had to go down there. People have business. A private investigator who was working on an insurance claim, and they're very fearful when they go down there.
Mr. Beckman, the nurse who helped Mr. Utash, is she a black woman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
she is.
And the other element here is that there was a robbery, that Mr. Utash's phone and money were taken from his truck. Is that correct, Mr. Wembley?
Well,
it turns out that's not the case.
That turns out to be not the case?
That was the original, yeah, that was the original story, but that's not the case. Just got off the phone with Detroit police spokesperson who says that the wallet was found. Initially, it was reported. We heard from every reliable source that Mr. Utash was robbed, but turns out that wasn't the case.
Do you believe, Mr. Wembley, there will be a bias charge lodged in this case?
I can't really speak to that. 4 people are in custody right now. One of them has been charged with assault with intent to murder and assault with intent to commit great bodily harm. Another 16-year-old kid will likely be charged soon. They're deciding if he'll be charged as an adult. So I don't think the prosecutors are going to go easy on them.
No, I don't either. But if it's a hate crime, as you know, it gets into the federal system. Directly ahead, an Easter protest. A Muslim father objects to an egg hunt on religious grounds. Later, the CEO of Mozilla, an internet business, forced to resign for supporting traditional marriage. Bernie Goldberg on that. And The Factor will be right back. Factor follow-up segment tonight, as we told you in Friday's Talking Points memo. Any mention of Jesus in the public schools will bring fear and loathing. Here's some proof. Dearborn, Michigan, Muslim parent objecting to teachers handing out flyers promoting an Easter egg hunt at a Christian church. The man, Majed Mugni, says his 2 children do not feel comfortable getting those flyers, even though attendance is strictly voluntary and has nothing to do with the public school. The kids are just invited to have a fun time off campus hunting for eggs and having a relay race. Joining us now from Washington, Mary Catherine Ham and Juan Williams. And you say, Juan,
what is this guy afraid of? I mean, talk about wild. I mean, look, we're a pluralistic society. We have lots of people of lots of faiths. We're a Christian majority country. We have a celebration, an Easter egg hunt. Believe me, Jesus was not a bunny rabbit, okay? This has nothing to do. I mean, the kids are invited as an act of generosity by the church to participate in a community activity.
Right. But, Juan, you made a big mistake there. On the flyer, the word Easter does not appear. The flyer says egg hunt, relay race, egg toss.
It's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, they took the word Easter out because they didn't want a guy like that to seize upon because a public school was just publicizing it, which they would do for any community because it would be a good time. Mary Catherine, would it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's an egg extravaganza. You're right, it was not called Easter. And I think it's worth pointing out that I believe some of the parents are pushing back and saying, look, this isn't a big deal. And I think we should sometimes focus on those guys instead of giving in to the first person who has an issue with every single thing.
The overall theme here, Juan, and I'm sure you watched my memo on Friday because it was overwhelmingly brilliant, is now in the public school system, they are so afraid of guys like this man, who will walk in on any pretense, all right, even if you're teaching about how Judeo-Christian philosophy influenced the Founding Fathers and what they incorporated from the Ten Commandments into our justice system. Oh, no, 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 no. And I think this is almost like a disease in America. But nobody's treating it, Juan, because the mainstream media sympathizes with the secularists. They don't want, if they, you know, I mean, you got to be ashamed. You can't even tell kids they can have a good time on Easter. You can't even tell them that now. But, Juan, I mean, you're surprised. Look, this Christmas deal that I've been covering for a decade now, they all come out of the woodwork for that. And there's a reason they do. So there is a core of people in this country who wants to wipe out any vestige of Christianity in particular from the schools. Let's give Mary Catherine the last word.